Ace Podcast.
Hello everyone, this is DK from Vaguely Accurate, and you're listening to Don't Wake the Kids on the Ace Podcast Network.
Well, hello, Chris, are you there?
Hello! Thanks for having me back.
Well, I didn't have anybody else to come on, so... No, I'm just kidding. Last week was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Something definitely different. Got to listen to myself for the first time on podcast. Wasn't as bad as I thought I would sound.
So, you listened to the whole episode?
Listened to the whole episode. Actually got some pretty exciting news after listening to that episode.
What was the exciting news?
Oh, Team 4-Star has an update.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that to me. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, we're back. We're live on Twitch. We've got 3 more viewers now than we did last time, which is cool.
Awesome.
Actually,
we're growing.
Last time, when I mentioned it, I said we had 1 viewer. Or did I say 2? I don't remember. It was 1 or 2.
I think it was 1.
By the end of the night, there were 9, I think. Moving on up. And I'm pretty sure I know everyone that was on there. But, man, I'm so low energy tonight. I'm drained.
Man, it's this tornado that's supposed to be coming.
Oh, is it supposed to get that bad?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
I knew it was supposed to rain tonight. And then storm all day tomorrow.
It's not the first time we rode out a tornado together.
Have we?
Well, I guess it wasn't technically a tornado, but we were just hiding in the liquor store.
Oh, yeah. No, there was a tornado like less than 5 miles from us in Oklahoma.
Okay, so we legit got to hide in the liquor
so
store.
What he's talking about, we both worked part-time at a liquor store. Was this the beginning of this year or the end of last year when that happened?
That was end of last year.
Yeah, well, we were closing down the store. It was probably, 2 hours before we closed. 3 hours maybe?
Yeah, 2-3 hours, something like that.
And the weather it got really bad. Tornado sirens started going off. It was fucking terrifying outside. So we locked up the store and hid in it was basically a broom closet under the stairs. We sat under there for like an hour waiting on it to pass.
Yes, I remember, what did you have? We had a Fireball and a fifth of Jack Daniels with us just in case it got really crazy.
Yeah, we grabbed some bottles just in case we were going to, if it got too bad, we were going to save at least 2 bottles.
Yeah, we had to make sure at least we're going to ride out the storm. We might as well do it in style. Drunk. Inebriated.
But this is an exciting episode. I really wish I was more high energy tonight. I wish I had the energy to do this justice. This is episode 50. It's only taken me
half 100.
I don't even know how long I've been doing this. Almost 2 years. Maybe it has been 2 years.
Is it?
I don't remember. Yeah, I think it's about 2 years, but no, there's no way it took me 2 years to do it. It's taken me a long time, and we're here finally. But to celebrate, we're going to tell my favorite story to tell of all time, the donut story.
Did you do that on purpose last week? Did you know that?
I didn't. I really didn't. We just ran out of time last week. I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't even realize until tonight I got down to typing up the notes for this show to plan out what we were going to talk about and whatnot. And I was like, oh man, this is number 50.
I'm honored to get to be one of the main attractions of episodes 50.
You are the main attraction, Chris.
Yes.
But so before we tell this, God, this story's so good. Before we get into it, Facebook.com/Don'tWakeTheKids, Twitter and Instagram at DWTK Podcast. Check out the Patreon. Also, I've been meaning to mention this for a while now. If you look at the show notes on whatever podcast player you're using, I include links. So on our hashtag trending, I include everyone that I'm not going to say steal, but everyone that we shout out and use their Twitter. That's all on there. The link to the real news or fake news stories there. Basically anything, the YouTube channel is also there. But anything that we talk about that I want to reference, I put it in the show notes. So if there's something you hear that you want to look further into without having to Google it yourself or search through Twitter or whatever, check out the show notes. Click the link there. That's going to be the easiest way to get there for you. But meat and potatoes.
I love me some meat and potatoes. Especially a little bit of cheese.
Or donuts, rather.
Donuts are even better.
You know, this is a little random, off topic. Not really off topic. It's on topic, but totally off topic. Since I quit sugar, there's a lot of things I wish that I could still eat, but none more than donuts. And I didn't eat donuts that much before I quit sugar. It was like maybe once a month I'd have a couple, but now it's the one thing that I miss the most.
You're going to be mad, dude. I had me a box of donuts and a bag of donut holes like yesterday.
If I could eat sugar right now without getting sick, I would just destroy a whole box. Like a full dozen. I could probably finish a dozen donuts in half an hour by myself.
If you ever want to start eating donuts again, I'm taking you with me to the Donut Palace. It's probably the best donut place in Fort Smith.
Yeah, I've been there. I mean, it's been years, but yeah, I've been there.
I know Van Buren's got one. Greenwood has one, but it's like nothing compared to the Fort Smith.
Yeah, the one in Greenwood's kind of
perfect fluffiness, just like fresh out of the oven.
But speaking of donuts, in 2005, Christmas night, it always cracked me up that it was Christmas night. Just thinking about what happened that night. The fact that it was
Christmas miracle, man.
Christmas night. So the next day, the day after Christmas, my family, we were going to go take family pictures, and I needed a haircut. So I called up my friend Kim that cut my hair. She had a shop like a mile and a half from my house. So I called her up Christmas morning, knowing that it's Christmas morning and it's probably not going to happen. But as a last-ditch effort, I called her and said, hey, I really need a haircut. We're having pictures taken tomorrow. Can you do it today? And miraculously, she said she would. But she could only meet me at the salon haircut place. Can't call it a barber shop because she's not a barber.
I guess a salon would be correct.
So she could only meet me there at midnight, Christmas night. So, well, I guess the day after Christmas, that morning, whatever. So I'm hanging out at my house. Everybody else went to bed. I'm just waiting around watching TV until it's time for me to go get my haircut. 11:50 rolls around and I get up, turn off the TV, walk to my front door, and I open it. And right in front of the door is a mountain of donuts, like hundreds, maybe thousands of donuts, just in a mountain right in front of the door. I was just like, what the fuck? But then I look around and there's hundreds more donuts all over the place. They're literally all over my yard, all over the vehicles. They're like evenly spaced, like a foot apart, making this perfect square diagram of donuts all over my yard. I thought I was going crazy. I just turned around and walked back in the house and shut the door. And I sat there just thinking, are there donuts? Is this real? So I turned around, I opened the door again, stuck my head out, and they were still there. I wasn't going crazy. So I walked into my parents' room. They were asleep, but as soon as I walked in, my stepdad kind of raised up. He's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, there's donuts everywhere. My mom, she kind of rolled over. She said, shut up, just go back to bed. You're having a dream. And I said, no, there's donuts everywhere. They both jumped up out of bed and ran out the front door. And sure enough, there's fucking donuts everywhere. Thousands. Oh yeah, there was also a barrel, like a big, like 50-gallon drum full of donuts. I had never been more confused in my life. I don't think I will ever again be that confused. There's nothing that can top that confusion. But I had to get my haircut, so I left. On the way to get my haircut, I called our friend Josh because he was the one person that I could think of that would do something like this. I called him up and I didn't say anything at first. I was like, hey man, what are you doing? And he told me that he was at his dad's house in Conway, which is a couple hours from here. So immediately I was even more confused because like, who the fuck could do this? But Josh, he's the only person dumb enough I could think of to put donuts all over my yard. But so I get to Kim's shop and she starts cutting my hair and I'm telling her about what happened. Well, she also cut his hair, so she called him up and put it on speakerphone, but didn't tell him that I was there and listening, and he spilled the beans that it was him and Chris and Jeff. Is that it?
And Bailey.
Oh yeah, Bailey was there too.
Rest in peace, Bailey.
But so I yelled out, since I was on speakerphone, I told them that they needed to get to my house. My mom was pissed. My mom, she has no chill. She was really mad, threatening to call the police. So I told them, I was like, hey, you've got to get to my house, clean that up before she calls the cops on you. And that was the end of it for me. I was getting my hair cut. By the time I got home, they were still there, but everything was cleaned up. Chris, do you want to tell us how this all happened?
So we're going to backtrack to about 11:30. So all of a sudden, Jeff and I believe Josh probably both together pull up and they're like, holy crap, guys. And I think right now, maybe it was me and Bailey. I think there was one other person hanging out with us. But it's like, holy crap, guys. We just found a bunch of donuts. It was like, apparently the Irish Made Donut, is that what's in Greenwood?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Irish Made Donuts left all their leftover donuts that no one bought that day, left them out there by the trash can. And so they thought it was a great idea that they need to grab those donuts and they've got to take it somewhere. So they thought, of course, we'll take it over to my place. And when they get there, we all think it's amazing. We're all just kind of like head bobbing, like trying to just like dig donuts out with our mouth.
Like bobbing for apples?
Yeah, bobbing for apples. Yeah, which now
there was a video to that.
There was a video.
I wish we still had that video, man.
I don't know. There's a lot of good videos we've lost over time. Finally we're like, well, we got to do something with these donuts. It's a big old trash can full of donuts. We've got to do something. So of course, the only person that's not there, that's in our group of friends, is Randall. Well, we've got to do something to Randall then. And apparently someone thought they would be a great idea that we just place these donuts all over his house just to confuse the hell out of him, which sounds like we were successful in that. So we said, all right, let's load up. So we load up the vehicle. I can't think we're all in Josh's vehicle, and we like parked down at the end of the driveway, so you guys couldn't really hear us, and we're trying to be really, really quiet, obviously. And we get there, and dude, we're just placing these donuts everywhere, dude. We're just throwing donuts all over the place. We're just trying to cover your whole yard. We start trying to cover the vehicles, and man, that's a lot of work.
God, if that had happened today, that shit would have gone viral because I would have had a picture of it, but like my cell phone could take a picture, but it was grainy as shit, and I was in a hurry. I wasn't thinking to go grab my camera because, that's not something we thought about back then. Social media wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, that was the age of the Razr phone.
Yeah.
That wasn't the iPhone age yet.
I think I had a Nokia flip phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember we got tired of just placing donuts out, and I remember we dumped a whole bunch of donuts on your front.
There was a mountain.
Yeah, right there in your porch, and then we just left the trash can, or the big old trash can full of whatever was left in it. And so we got back at our place, and we're all just sitting there laughing because we just, dumped a shit ton of donuts off in your front yard. And then we're sitting there, and I think Josh gets a phone call, so we're all quiet. We let Josh go, answer the phone call and everything. And we're like, does he think it's us? And he's like, oh, no, man. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. And then I believe you eventually ended up giving me a phone call asking me about it. I think I spilled the beans by saying something about Josh being there. Then I was like, oh, no, he went to town. He went back into
No, I think I called you after Josh, and you just laughed it off.
Oh.
Like, oh, that's hilarious.
Something like that. But I remember, finally, I think your mom called Josh or someone screaming, threatening or whatever. And so,
yeah. I left that out. When I found out it was them, I texted my mom, told her who it was, and she texted me back. And that was when she said, "Tell them to get here now, or I'm calling the cops."
Yeah, I've seen your mom pretty pissed, and that was definitely one of the most pissed moments I've seen your mom. Not the only one.
No.
But yeah, so I remember we get pulled up there, and like there's a cop waiting for us, and we're just having to giving us a little talk, hey, you guys know better than do something like this. And so in order to avoid any kind of jail time or whatever we get for putting donuts in somebody's yard, we had to pick up and clean up our mess because, we didn't want to attract raccoons or skunks or anything like that. Put poor Randall life and his family's life in danger. So we cleaned all that up. And I think before we can even finish cleaning up, your mom and the police guy was just sitting there kind of laughing at it. So everyone knew it was just something stupid. And we got loaded everything up, took the trash can all the way back to the Irish Made Donuts trash, and we actually threw it in the trash. And the cop, jokingly, he's like, "Did you guys learn a lesson?" And we're like, "Yeah, don't dump donuts in their yard." But
Did you offer him any? Because I could see Bailey totally offering a cop donuts like that.
You know, I want to say that I can't remember if that happened or not, but I would say Bailey, that was definitely something Bailey would have done. I could have seen Bailey or Jeff, definitely. Bailey for sure, offering the cop a donut. So for Bailey's sake, we're just going to say that he did. So yeah, don't dump donuts in Randall's mom's yard.
I love telling that story because it always gets some laughs, and I laugh just thinking about it because when I saw them, I literally thought I was going crazy. Like I didn't know what was happening. That's just not something that you expect to walk out of your house on Christmas night at midnight to see thousands of donuts.
I mean, of course, if we would TP your yard and it's just like, oh, the guys TP my yard, but you're like, no, I got
no. It was so much better than TPs. There were some other pranks that have been pulled on me. Like when I was in Japan, someone hid my moped in the building I lived in. It was like it looked like I want to say it was like a T, and in the middle, all the way up the middle was a like storage units, and we weren't allowed to use those, so they were just empty, but they were all unlocked. And someone took my moped up to the 5th floor using the elevator and put it in one of those storage units.
Oh.
Thankfully, when they were getting into the elevator, one of my friends saw them pushing it into the elevator. He texted me. He's like, hey, I think I just saw someone take your moped into the elevator. So I went searching for it. And it took me, because I started at the 2nd floor and went all the way up to the 5th, knocking on doors and looking in the storage sheds. And it took a long time, maybe close to an hour, just to get to where I finally found it. That made me mad because you don't fuck with someone's shit like that.
That's horrible.
Then I had a roommate that once, I think I told this story before, but he threw my bed, the mattress off my bed off our 4th floor balcony. If you've listened to all the episodes, let me know if I've told that story or not. If I haven't, I will tell it on a future episode. I don't want to repeat it if I've already told that story. But yeah, that one I laughed off. I thought it was funny after the fact.
Dude. What is that a common thing for people to get their mattresses thrown off? Like,
not that I know of.
I've actually heard multiple people tell me about like drunk. It's like a staple drunk story, man. Like, dude, so someone got so drunk threw a mattress off the house or something like that. It's a common thing to hear about. I mean, come on, it happened in The Hangover, didn't it? Didn't they throw like Doug's mattress over in The Hangover in the first one?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he threw it out. He threw it off the top of the roof because he was trying to get someone's attention.
Oh, still he was drunk.
I don't think he was drunk at that time. But yeah, no, I get your point.
There was alcohol involved at some point in time.
Right. Another story that we were wanting to tell this week is about a fight that Chris got in. I don't know how good this story really is. Being there, it was hilarious, but I haven't really thought about it too much since then. Like other than referencing the Edwards Uppercut.
The glorious.
I don't remember a lot about it except for looking for your tooth afterwards. But just go ahead and tell us this story, and we'll see if it's worth leaving it in.
All right. Well, all started actually, I think the night before. I think it was on a Sunday night or Saturday night or something like that. I believe we were hanging out at your place. It was just a normal group of friends, whatever. So we're all just sitting there chilling, and I believe Alan he starts calling. I don't think it was the first one. I think it was like
you gotta call out his full name, huh?
Oh, sorry. Can we edit that out?
I'll pull his last name out of there for you.
Yeah, that one guy. So, anyways, Alan gives us a phone call, and he's going down the line and gets just shit talking people, and he's drunk. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this guy. And he calls, and I'm like, hey, I was like, let's fight. If you want to fight, let's fight. And dude never shows up.
And before he gets too far into this, I want to say Chris is not the kind of guy to just fight someone. Like, he's got to be pushed and pushed and pushed.
No, I'm definitely not about the fighting life. I would never want anyone. I don't think anything gets solved with violence and stuff. But hey, I was a hormonal teenager at this time, and this dude was just like to talk a lot. So I just.
Oh yeah. He was notorious. Right? Lots of people fought him at Bell Park for the same reason.
And listen, I'm not gonna lie. I've always told, don't ever start a fight that you can't finish. And it was pretty obvious that I could finish this fight.
Yeah, so if you're looking at Twitch right now, Alan's the same size as me, and Chris is Chris.
Yeah.
That's basically, I'm much smaller. Alan was much
Probably
smaller.
About this weight, maybe a little bit lighter, possibly.
Yeah, and you were a cheerleader and ran track and stuff, so you were in shape then.
Yeah, that cheerleading mascot life, man.
Oh yeah, mascot too.
Hey, it's like a sauna in there. So anyways, yes, I was a mascot at this point in time, and Alan, the football player, wanted to fight, apparently. So I told him, hey, come on out, let's fight, and he never showed up. And then finally, I think we let an hour go by, and we give him a call back, like, hey, man, you coming out? And he's never wanted to show up. And I was like, all right. So we just, shenanigans, drunk shenanigans, whatnot. But I kind of took it a little personal. And so the next day, I go over and hang out with a friend of mine, and I'm just like, hey, that Alan dude, gave him a phone call and wanted to fight, and they never showed up. I was like, if he says something, I think we're going to fight. Well, word gets back to Alan. The next day, he comes up next to me at lunch. He's like, hey, something. I was like, oh, come on, man. He's like, no, I was told if I said something, we're going to fight. And I was like, well.
That's such a douchey thing to say.
I was like, okay, I guess. I was like, let's do it at Bell Park, not here at school. I don't want to get in trouble.
Bell Park is where everyone went after school to fight.
Yeah, that was the Greenwood fight spot, everyone's like, hey, Bell Park, right up the road. So we finally, we got a whole rest of the day of school. We're just letting everything build up. And we get up there, and everyone's apparently up there. The word's already been passed around.
It was like 20 to 30 of us, probably. It was a bunch.
Felt like everybody.
Well, considering my class alone was almost 300, I think everybody would have been a little too much for that park.
Well, it was a good small.
It was a good big small group.
It was a good small percentage, but
it was probably the most people I've ever seen up there during an after school throwdown.
All right. So I remember, getting up there and just getting all pumped up, ready to go. I'm like, all right, where's Alan, going to get here? Let's do this. Let's throw down. Guy pulls up his vehicle, and I don't think he didn't even get to turn his vehicle off yet. And I open the door, and I swing. Dude ducks, and that was the only hit I remember missing on him. And he popped me right in the mouth, and I had a fake tooth, and I still have one right now. But he knocked it out, and I just went ballistic and lost it from there. So all I remember is punching the dude in the face repeatedly, and then at some point hits the ground, and I just keep banging his face into the ground. And I think I'd kind of run out of gas a little bit, and I went to stand up, and they're like, "Is it over?" And then I remember Alan just slowly standing back up, and I turn around. And I remember it's just almost like slow motion. I just turn around and I go in just for an uppercut and just lay the dude back out on the ground.
You missed a very important detail there.
Uh-oh.
So you got up and you walked away. You were probably, I don't know, 5 to 6 feet away from him. And he stood up and was hands on his knees trying to catch his breath. He said, all right, Chris, we all know who's the bigger man here. And you turned around and said, fuck yeah, we do, as you ran at him and uppercut him. And he literally, his feet came off the ground and he landed flat on his back. And that was the end of that.
Yep. Got pulled over by the cops about 15 minutes later.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, man. I fit the description because my face was covered in blood.
And missing a tooth.
Yeah, and missing a tooth. So I think that was a really...
Didn't you also sneeze that tooth out once in class?
I think that was the time. It was just a flipper, a little device that you put. Just kind of like a
retainer,
like a retainer, but with the tooth on there, a little partial.
Oh,
yeah, dude. No, I've lost that tooth actually many a times. Were you there when I busted off the first time, or I was eating hard candy at my house, and then all of a sudden
I don't think I was.
Maybe it was Josh. I also busted eating a turkey leg before.
Wow! Did you bite the bone or?
No, it was the tendon, man. You ever eat those turkey legs and there's tendons in there or whatever? Ligaments, whatever. Oh, man, bit that. And I went crazy, and then I went and bit the other dude's turkey leg. And he's like, what the hell?
Wait, what?
Oh, it was when I was living with Loca. It was when I was living with Loca, man.
And the way you said that.
Well, the other dude, man.
And I went over and bit the other dude's turkey leg. Who's the first dude's turkey leg that you bit? And why are you biting dude's turkey legs?
Oh, man.
I
love me some turkey legs.
Were you just so mad at your turkey leg that you had to take someone else's?
Apparently, dude. And I felt a little bit better afterwards, so I guess it helped.
Oh my god. Well, oh, is there anything to add to that? Oh, this is kind of on subject, I guess, but my favorite though, next to the Edwards Uppercut, was fight up at Bell Park was Brent and what was that tall dude's name?
It was one of the kids, wasn't it? Wasn't it
Yeah.
boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got so much name editing I've got to do on this episode.
Dude, I remember that was my first time picking up tobacco products after turning 18. Was for that fight. Yes.
That was my favorite because like Brent was 5'3", 5'4". He was so short, such a little guy. He really had a Napoleon complex. Awesome dude, but you didn't fuck with him because he would want to fight you. He just always had to prove himself.
Dude was crazy enough.
Yeah. Actually, the only fight I've ever been in was with him. I'll tell that here in a second. But that fight with Brent and...
Wasn't it Travis?
Travis, that's it.
Yeah.
With Travis, I'll fix this in post.
Oh, yeah, we got to fix the names.
Yeah, I got to fix the names.
Man, we're just putting everybody on blast tonight in Greenwood.
Nobody watching on Twitch knows these people. But anyways, so Travis and Brent. Travis is like, he's like 6'2". He's like a beanpole. He's super skinny, but really tall. And then Brent is skinny, but also tiny. Brent kicked his ass. It was the best thing I've ever seen. Like he literally had to jump a couple times to punch him in the face, but it was amazing.
Like I don't remember. I don't think Travis did anything.
He really didn't.
I remember like Bridges like wailing into him.
Yeah, Brent really didn't give him a chance.
And then I handed him his Black and Milds, and he smoked his Victor cigar.
Oh yeah,
it was impressive.
No, the only fight I've been in my life was in second grade on the playground. I saw these two kids picking on a kindergarten girl. Like they were like being mean, like pushing her and stuff. And I didn't like it. So I went over and told them to stop. This was Brent and his friend Josh. Josh was also a very small guy. Like they were about the same size. In second grade, we were all the same size. None of us had hit puberty and all that. But they turned on me, and I don't remember which one of them it was, but one of them punched me in the side of the head right as the other one grabbed my arm and swung me around, and like I fell down, and then I got up and tackled Brent, and Josh jumped on my back, and then like the teachers pulled us apart, and we all got in trouble, obviously. I got in-school suspension for 2 hours, and they got 2 days. Yeah, me and Brent ended up being really good friends. Man, that's for the first time in 50 episodes we've talked about two friends that we've lost. Brent and Bailey both passed years ago.
Rest in peace, guys.
But those are some stories. We'll hopefully be able to come up with some more next week. We've got plenty. It's just trying to remember them all.
I know. All the years of sleeping.
Yeah, and drinking.
Drinking. And all that
almost more drinking than sleeping sometimes.
Yeah.
But let's get into hashtag trending. This week's hashtag is make a movie appalling. When I read that at first, I thought it said appealing, and I thought this is going to be boring. But then I opened it up and saw what it actually said, and it's pretty good. I'll start it off this week since you did last week, Chris. The first one comes from @JohnSense38, Planet of the Rapes.
Right. Wow. I've got @OkiGirl, Beauty and I'm going to go with Bestiality.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be?
Beauty and the Bestiality.
Beauty and the Bestiality.
And then @JS Williams 1962. Oh, this one makes me sick. Nickelback to the Future.
Look at this photograph.
Please don't. Oh.
You can take that out if you want.
No, you tortured me with it. I'm going to leave it in to torture everyone else too.
At Vasego or VASEGO1. Vasego 1. Diarrhea of a Wimpy Kid. Ooh.
Diarrhea of a Wimpy Kid, if you didn't catch that.
Diarrhea.
Man. @Nikki Noble. Some people I don't think would really call this one. This might make it more appealing and not appalling. Gangbangs of New York.
I don't know if those are the kind of people.
Holy crap! This is a new one. I've never accidentally. I pick these totally at random. I get on Twitter, I find a funny hashtag, and I just look through and find some of the tweets that I like, some of the funnier ones that I see, and I never look at who sent it in, but we have another one by Vasego1. This is the first time I've ever accidentally taken 2 from the same person.
Oh,
At a time. I'll rephrase that. I have chosen, there's, I think it's Cool Guy Grant. It's someone he does these hashtag wars all the time, and he always has some really funny ones. So I've used his several. But this is the first time in one show that I've used the same person twice. Sorry, what is his tweet?
His tweet is 50 fist dates. Fist dates.
Remove one letter there. It's clever, but it works. All right, Chris, it's your week for real news or fake news.
All right. Since I knew Randall was such a huge Kanye West fan.
I fucking hate Kanye West.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't like Kanye West?
He's an idiot. His music is not good.
He has been very popular in the news here lately. And it seems like he has another article that's popped up, and I'd like to share it with everybody, and we'll see if it's real or fake.
Let's hear it.
Oh,
I don't want to hear it because I just don't want to hear about him, but I'll sit through it.
All right. Well, here we go. Title is Kanye West. I would have ridden away from a slave plantation on a motorcycle first chance I got. End quotation. Didn't start with the open quotation, but I figured you'll get the point. We'll go with the story here. Insisting that the legal, centuries-long practice of slavery in America could never have limited his personal or artistic ambitions, Kanye West stated Wednesday that if he had been born into captivity, he would have simply escaped the plantation on his motorcycle the first chance he got. Quotations there. If that slave owner so much as fixed his lips to say something to me, I would have just hopped on my Harley and ridden to freedom. Probably would have popped a wheelie through the cotton fields as I peeled off, too, said the Grammy Award winner, adding that while he vibed with the certain Negro spirituals, there was simply no way he would subject himself to the hardships of slavery. Open quotation, there's nothing that could ever stop me from making music. Point blank, I would have parked my chopper at the studio and recorded an album about my experiences in the fields, inspiring slaves throughout the land to free themselves from their mental prison. Close quotations. At press time, sources confirmed West had taken to social media to unveil a new line of tour merchandise loosely inspired by the Underground Railroad.
You know, I hate him so much, that just sounds like something that his dumbass would come up with. I want to start a fire right now. I just want to burn something. Because it just sounds like something he would really say, but I don't think it is. I think the fact that it sounds like something he would say is why you brought it, because you know how much I hate him, and that it is actually just satire, someone making fun of him because he has said some really ridiculous things about slavery in the last week.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
You are correct. It's actually from The Onion.
Yay.
Good job.
Oh, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Well, Kanye never hurt nobody.
It hurts my brain just to think that someone that... But people say he's a genius. I don't... How can you say anyone with the shit that comes out of his mouth is a genius?
I mean, who besides him have you heard called a genius, though?
Well, the guy on TMZ called him a genius as he was like...
Okay, you just said TMZ, but does that, like, you lost all credibility there.
I've heard people say that he's a genius. I've heard people that love him call him a genius, and I call them fucking ridiculous.
I love his lyrics. I love his rap, but that's just me.
If you go out on stage and think you can perform Bohemian Rhapsody and you're not Panic at the Disco, you should just fuck off. Just Panic at the Disco actually did it really well. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. When we're done recording, I'll show you. But that's that. Thank God. You know, I have a really bad track record with these. I haven't got many right. I'm really glad I got your first one right.
Yeah.
YouTube channel of the week. I'm going to go with Bunny Ears.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever heard of Bunny Ears, Chris?
No, I have not. What is Bunny Ears?
Bunny Ears is Macaulay Culkin and Maddie Cohen. You know who Macaulay Culkin is.
course, Home Alone.
Right. And Matt Cohen, he is actually he worked
Coen Brothers?
No. He worked for Kevin Smith for a while. He helped Kevin Smith get his Podcastle started. He's done a bunch of stuff, but nothing I can think of other than that at the moment. But they have a podcast called Bunny Ears that it's probably my favorite new podcast for sure. Because, I mean, Macaulay Culkin he's such a likable person. Like, he just kind of disappeared for a long time. But now he's back with the podcast, and he talks about his life, and like, he talks about Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and Pagemaster and all that stuff. And Richie Rich, he mentions it.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, so, like, he talks about, being a child actor, but mostly it's just about, they talk about the dumbest things. But anyways, that's the podcast. The YouTube channel, they're just getting started on it. There's not a lot on there yet. There's some pretty funny stuff, though. I definitely recommend everyone check it out. I mean, I really don't think Macaulay Culkin needs my shout out to help him succeed in the podcast YouTube world, but I really enjoy it, and I know there's a lot of people out there that haven't heard of it, so I thought I'd mention it this week.
Well, now he owes you a shout out.
Whenever I first heard the podcast, I listened to like the first 3 episodes, and I tweeted that it was my favorite new podcast for sure, the best new podcast out there, or something like that, and he liked it. He hearted my tweet.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So you said earlier last week you talked about Team 4-Star. They did have a new episode come out.
Oh yeah. Well, no, not a new episode out yet, but there is an update. After I listened to the podcast, I had to go back and check, and so I went on Team 4-Star's Twitter page. And I noticed that 3 days ago, after the podcast came out, that they had started production on episode 60 for the new season 3 finale.
Nice.
So I guess they heard a podcast, or they heard you talking about doing an email or something. Word got out around, and they got started. They got to business.
I usually, and I forgot to do it last week. Like I made sure to tweet everybody that we used their tweets last week, and I usually try to either tweet or send an email to, or however I can let the YouTube channels know that, hey, we mentioned you on the show, just as our YouTube channel of the week. And I completely forgot to do it on that one last week, so it wasn't from me.
Oh wow, the odds were in my favor then.
Apparently. So moving on to the Playboy Advisor. this one's interesting. So this is actually a new one. This is the first time I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've read one before that was written by a woman. I think this is the first Playboy Advisor I've used on the show that was written by a woman. It says, "You came close a few months back to answering one of my biggest questions, and I wish I had written then. My question began in high school when they placed a bar in a doorway, this was during a gym session, and asked us girls to do chin-ups. I'm very athletic, but I never made it. I didn't realize it then, but after just a few chin-ups, I experienced an orgasm. Before I married, I discovered that if I hung on a door and tried a few chin-ups, I could, and still can, experience an orgasm in a matter of just 5 to 10 seconds. Yet orgasm with a man is hard to achieve. Can you explain this phenomenon to me? I don't dare share it with my husband. I don't think he'd understand. Mrs. E.D., St. Louis, Missouri." This Playboy, I forgot to mention, is the January 1984 30th anniversary issue.
Oh.
1984. This 80s chick is chin-up-gasming.
Impressive.
All right, Playboy Advisor replies, "You wouldn't be the blonde in the purple leotard at our workout class, would you?" Never mind. Here's how to make your husband understand. First, remove all of his clothes, stimulate him in whatever fashion you prefer, and when he is erect, have him stand directly under the bar and do a few chin-ups. Let gravity do its work. He'll understand. He may think it's weird, but he'll understand. The one thing we don't understand is why you've chosen to keep it a secret. The reason orgasm with a man is difficult is that you don't share what works. It may take him years to stumble upon the chin-up trick by himself. Come on."
So freaky chin-up sex is the cure for that.
I don't think it'd have to be freaky. It could be fun.
I mean,
as long as it just sounds like a lot of work. It sounds difficult.
But yeah,
But hey, if it works.
see now you lose our romanticism there when you when you put it like that. See, when I call it freaky chin-up sex, that sounds like something dirty, something cool. You know, you don't want to church it up.
Yeah, I guess. But that's the show for this week, Chris, unless you've got something else you want to talk about.
No, I think I pretty much got everything off my chest tonight.
Cool. Well, guys, no good ever comes from letting a toddler sit on the couch naked.